Well, how you doing, Mike?
You know, every day is a great day. It's just a matter of scale. What do you say?
I like that. That's a good
Yeah.
way to live. I can't believe it, Mike. It's already fourth quarter. The weather's turning, starting to cool off a little bit. The
Yeah, the
leaves are
season.
falling.
Yeah, the season's here. It's upon us.
It is. Yep.
Fourth quarter,
So
first quarter, that time of year in Idaho.
that's right. Got to go blow up the sprinkler systems and
Yeah,
make sure you're winterized up, huh?
yeah.
Well, I wanted to chat a little bit today about some perceptions out there in the public. And one of those being, is it still a good time to make a real estate move, whether that's buying or selling in the winter months, we'll call it, or the fourth quarter, first quarter of the year?
So what's the rumor that you're hearing? You're hearing that it is or isn't a good buy,
Uh,
good
the
time.
the rumor I'm hearing is I don't want to do it during this time of the year. I'd like to hold off until spring or summertime of next year.
Okay. Well, we were talking earlier, just having some fun. A great thing about buying or selling during the wintertime, if there happens to be snow on the ground, you can just slide everything you got right across the ground and make that move a little bit easier, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Get it right into the door.
You know, I'll tell you just an overall statistic for our market. The wonderful thing about our market is that it really is not a seasonal market. It's a year-round market here in the immediate area. And we measure the volume of sales, the number of sales on a quarterly basis each year. And so the fourth quarter of each year and the first quarter, which we call the winter months,
Yes, sir.
roughly 45% of the homes in the market sell in that 6 month period, which means 55% sell in the height of the market when everybody considers the market to be hot. So we've got a year-round market. Homes sell year-round. The one thing that I would tell you in the fourth quarter and first quarter is that owners who want to sell are serious about selling
Hmm.
because they're leaving their homes in the weather that we have, and people are traipsing through snow and other things in their houses. So it's not a convenient time. And buyers are very intentional. You know, if it's really cold and it's windy and it's snowing and people are out looking at homes, they aren't doing it for laughs and giggles. We do not have tire kickers during this season. So the buyers are very intentional as well. So we have fewer sellers and we have fewer buyers, but they tend to balance because then in the summer months, the second quarter and the third quarter, we have more sellers and we have more buyers. So in balance, it's just right there.
Okay, that's interesting. You said 55% during our peak months and 45% during what the public seems to think nothing really happens in our market.
That's the truth. That's
Wow.
and the numbers. I always say a lot of people say numbers don't lie. I say the numbers tell the truth, and
Hmm.
so it just lets us know that it's happening. And also during these months, we find that people believe that maybe values change. So people may say, I want to buy in the fourth or first quarter because I think the prices will be lower, the values of homes will be lower. We statistically have no proof of that. There's just no evidence that that happens. Our list to sell ratios, meaning the percentage of the list price that a home sells for, we find that that list to sell ratio is consistent in the winter months, relatively the same as they are in the summer months. So there
Wow.
just aren't differences.
So if I'm a buyer, Mike, and I see that there might be a little bit less inventory or there might be not as many options out there, what you're telling me is it might not be the best case scenario to wait out till a little bit more inventory is out there or something like that?
You never know when the house is going to come up that's your house.
Hmm.
It can be when there are a lot of homes on the market. It can be when there's not. Keep in mind that when there are more homes on the market, there's more buyers on the market. There's a greater probability that if you find your home that makes your heart pitter patter, that somebody else might be there too if there are more people looking at the same time. I can argue this on both sides of it, but in the end, when you find the home that you want to buy, you should buy it regardless of the seasonality.
It's good advice. I would say, in my experience as well, Mike, working with my buyers and sellers that I've helped throughout Q4, Q1, throughout the years, I've noticed that it is it seems to be a higher quality almost. And I hesitate to use the word quality, but I would like to say they're not tire kickers. They're very intentional. They're being deliberate about what it is they need to do because it's typically I have to kind of do this situation versus, oh, you know what? Snow's flying. I think that right now is a good time to move. That's what you're
That,
saying.
yeah, and that's the difference between the tire kicker and the intentional buyer. Folks that are buying this time of year, there's some reason that causes them to need to make that move, and we don't get to choose. Life drives so much of real estate these days because the interest rate changed from years ago.
Hmm.
Now we find that the move up buyers are a little bit less frequent. So it's marriage, it's death, it's divorce, we're having twins, it's relocation for job purposes. There's just so many things that are going on in life that dictate that this is when you need to do real estate. And if this is when you need to do real estate, don't put it off because you think some other time might be the best time. It's impossible to time the market. It's impossible to time when the buyer is out there for your home if you're selling, and it's impossible for you to time when you're going to find the house that you want to buy. It just doesn't work that way. It's You'd think it'd be predictable, but it's just not.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's move into that real quick. It's interesting you brought up the phrase timing the market.
Mm.
So if I'm a buyer, I'm on the bench and I'm qualified, but I'm just kind of sitting around hoping, thinking interest is maybe going to go down. I'm watching the news. I know we heard about the Fed supposed to be cutting the rates a couple times. Is it a good idea to sit around and wait for the interest rates to maybe go down a little bit, try and time it? Or what you're saying is if the right home pops up, you should jump on it?
When they talk about the stock market or any other market, we talk about timing. There's this little joke that we have. You know when the markets hit the bottom after it starts going up. You know when
Yeah.
it's hit the top
When it starts going
when it
down.
starts going down. Exactly.
Okay.
So that's really part of what we mean by timing. And interest rates, all the loans, most of the loans these days, and this is something that buyers, if you're buying a home, you'd want to be factoring in if you're getting financing. We loosely term it a boomerang effect, but you buy, and let's say that the interest rates are 6.5% at the time that you close on your loan. If your loan contains or includes this benefit of a boomerang, all this means is that that lender's package or that lender's loan allows you to refinance one time with no lender fees. There still would be title fees and out there, some minimal fees, but the lender's not going to charge any fees. So if you financed at 6.5% and a year from now rates are at 5.5%, nobody's predicting that, by the way, but if they did
Sure.
get to that level, then you could refinance from that 6.5 to 5.5, have no lender fees, assume the lower payment, and move on, not have to sell, not have to go through the full refinance process. It's a pretty streamlined process. So it's a really cool feature out there that you should make sure is there. And it's a big reason to say, don't wait. Here's another reason to not wait. A lot of people have been sitting on the sidelines saying, I'm going to wait for rates to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when they go down, I'm going to go buy.
Yep.
Well, I don't know how big that pool is, but I think it's bigger than a pool. I think it's kind of pond or lake size. It's a pretty good crowd of people.
Okay.
And when that crowd rushes to the market because rates declined, my prediction is it puts pressure on the market. And whenever there's pressure on the market, it puts pressure on pricing.
Mm.
If all you're doing is selling and you're not going to buy, then holding might be okay. We may, because our prices here locally have been stable for about 3 years. The price per foot, the average price per foot today is the same as what it was in 2022.
Mm.
Roughly the same. We all want to say it's gone up, but statistically, we've got the numbers to say, no, that's not really the case. So it's been bottled up for a while wages catch up. Wages are catching up.
Yep.
Income's catching up. Debt, when they talk on the national level, I was just in some meetings and they talked about the overall debt levels of Americans is declining. So all these things are curing out. So when people start coming back to the market, it could put pressure on the market and cause prices to rise. So while you might, if you waited and didn't buy today so you could get a lower initial rate, you could be paying so much more for your home that rate reduction won't make any difference. So my argument is, buy now. When the rates go down, you can still take advantage of the lower rate when the time comes.
I think that's solid advice, Mike. And I'm glad you brought up that what we call a boomerang product. I don't think a lot of people even understand that exists. And so that's a really unique way to get you into the home if it pops up and it's checking all the boxes. And I also like to help educate my clients that when you're paying a mortgage and you're securing a home, that's almost like a forced savings account, right? You're having to put money away. It's already dedicated to a certain spot rather than pay someone else's mortgage. You're putting that own money into your own pocket, building that equity. And so when rates do adjust, and they always adjust, they go up and down. Time proves that you're already building and setting aside some equity for yourself, and then you still get to take advantage of that lower rate by taking advantage of that boomerang product you were talking
Sure,
about.
you bet. And the other part of it, just to say it, if you've purchased your home today, and we do see that pressure on the market and those values escalate, not only did you not pay a higher price, you're secured at a lower principal, so you've gained wealth. And the great thing about this kind of wealth, when we call it in residential housing, is it's a little difficult to touch it. It's not that you can't. People do. They do refis, they do HELOCs, they do things to take out their equity. But theoretically, if you don't do that, that's how you're building wealth. And there's a statistic, I don't remember the exact numbers, but the National Association has done numbers, and they measure the wealth of the average person who's a renter and never owned, and the person who owns at a certain period of time. And it's staggering at the difference in the net wealth of individuals when they get into home ownership.
Yeah, which is critical for you use the word wealth, which is a big difference between maybe that term rich and building something for yourself down the road long term. Is really what helps streamline the economy as well. I know we've been in meetings with Goldman Sachs, and they're all about getting anyone and everyone they can into home ownership, because when there's more homeowners out there, then that's overall positive and healthy for our economy. Is that right?
It is true. The more that's a real basis, and housing affordability is another thing. So one of the things in the market today, and we're big proponents of helping first-time buyers, especially. While we help everybody, as a group, we may have a reputation of handling a higher-end clientele, which we do,
Sure.
but we also love taking care of the first-time buyer. We have to understand that inside the cycle of real estate, that there's dependence inside the real estate market for what we call the move-up buyer. Somebody comes in today, they buy their first home, and they live in that home for a while, and you know what they do? They step up to the
Mm.
next level, and they buy the next house, and then they buy the next house. Well, the first-time home buyer market is something that the federal government is really paying attention to, as the number of young people renting has gone up versus buying. And so what that does is that interrupts the cycle of real estate. It's reducing the number of step-up buyers that will come into the future. We really don't know what that looks like, because we really don't have experience with that, but it's something they're looking at and trying to figure out, one, how do we get out of that cycle? And number two, what really is the impact down the road? So we're all about, if you're a first-time buyer, let's figure out a way to get you into a home. And I guess the next step with that is, we hear today from people, well, I can rent for $2,000 a month, and if I buy, my payment's going to be $2,500 per month. So
Mm.
right now, the house payment is actually a little bit higher than your rent payment.
Yep.
However, you don't have any tax deductibility. You're not getting any wealth. So remember, a part of that house payment you make, that $2,500, 3, 4, 500 a month of that is going to the principal. So you're actually reducing what's owed on your house. So while you don't feel it, you talked about the forced savings account.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly like putting $500 in the bank that you just can't touch, because it's sitting in your house,
Right.
and that's where it's at. So that's a beautiful thing.
And when you're fixed in on the rate, you don't have to worry about your rent consistently going up, because what
Yeah.
does rent do over time? Just like appreciation of houses.
Goes up. It goes up and up and up. And we keep the house payment level. And remember, with your appreciation, when renting, you're watching values go up. And we've got a lot of people who didn't buy that look at the value of what their home would be today, and they sure wish they owned a house rather than renting.
Yeah, I hear you. I'll never forget my first house that I purchased. I ended up having to get into a townhouse with 3 kids and a cat. And it was a 3-bed townhouse, but I did it because of what you taught me, and understanding at a certain point I had to get out of the rental market and start creating some wealth, and
Yeah.
now got my family to a bigger single family home. So a couple of things we've covered here today, Mike, is first of all, the seasonality myth. So what you've just told me, based on facts and statistics that we have, is that this isn't like 80% of our sales happening in May, June,
No,
and
not at all.
July, like the common perception is.
Hmm.
And so it's more of an all year transacting state.
It really is. And again, I think my message to you is, if you want to buy a home, again, timing the market because you're waiting for interest rates or anything, that's just not going to work. It just really
Mm.
doesn't. So go looking for the home that you want, and when you find it, you'll be ready to buy it, and just have everything prepared. Make sure you select the right lender, select the right agent, and have them team up to help you.
All right. Well, in conclusion, thanks for your time today, Mike. It was really enlightening of what you let us know. If you find yourself you're out there and you're maybe one of those people that's trying to time the market, or you're on the sidelines thinking about what's going to be best for you and your family, just go ahead and give us a call. We'll walk you through it. We build a wealth plan with every single one of our clients. All of our clients are different. We're going to tailor it to you and what's going to fit best for you and your family. Or feel free to click the link below, and we look forward to hearing from you.